Hey, before you spend another dollar on hand creams that make promises they simply cannot keep, I need you to hear this because the backs of your hands may be aging faster than your face, and most people do not realize it until one day they catch their reflection in bright light and think, when did that happen? The lines look deeper, the skin looks thinner, the spots look darker, and no amount of lotion during the day seems to make any real difference. But tonight, I'm going to show you a simple bedtime method that can make your hands look dramatically smoother, softer, and visibly younger in as little as 7 days. Before we begin, please subscribe and like this video so our family keeps getting simple, science-backed health tips every week. I'm Matthew Stone, and after years of studying how the body changes with age, I can tell you this with complete confidence. Your hands are often one of the very first places to reveal collagen loss, sun damage, and a weakened skin barrier. Not your cheeks, not your neck, your hands. And the reason is simple. They go through constant washing, constant exposure to sunlight, constant contact with soaps, cleaners, hot water, and dry air, while receiving only a tiny fraction of the care you give the rest of your skin. That is why a smart nighttime routine can change more than you think, and change it surprisingly fast. Now, before I give you the exact thing to apply, I want to ask you something, and I truly want your answer in the comments below because I read them. And your replies help shape what I make next. How old are you, and what bothers you most about your hands right now? Is it the wrinkles across the knuckles? The creepy skin? The brown spots? The veins becoming more visible? Or that papery look that makes your hands seem older than you feel inside? Tell me down below, and stay with me until the end, because the biggest mistake people make before bed is undoing all their progress without even knowing it. Now, let me say something important right at the beginning, because I want to be honest with you. If you have true age spots that have been building for years, no cream on earth erases them like magic overnight. Anyone telling you that is selling fantasy. But the appearance of wrinkles, dullness, roughness, dryness, and uneven color can absolutely improve fast, sometimes shockingly fast. When you repair the skin barrier, reduce overnight water loss, and use the right actives in the right order. That is where the 7-day difference comes from. Not a miracle, not a gimmick, a biological response from tired skin finally getting what it has been missing. So what is the one thing I want you applying to your hands before sleeping? It is what I call an overnight hand repair mask, and it is much more powerful than ordinary lotion. The best version uses a fragrance, free hand cream or treatment containing ingredients like urea, glycerin, ceramides, niacinamide, and a gentle retinoid or retinol, and then you seal that in with a very thin layer of petroleum jelly before bed. That's it. Not lemon juice, not baking soda, not toothpaste, not harsh peels from the kitchen. A proper hand repair treatment followed by a protective seal so your skin can spend the night restoring itself instead of drying out. Think of your hands like dry soil in a garden. If you pour a little water on top in the middle of a hot day, it disappears almost instantly. But if you feed the soil, cover it, and protect it through the night, by morning it holds moisture again. That is exactly what happens here. The first layer gives the skin the humectants and repairing ingredients it desperately needs. The second layer acts like a soft protective blanket that keeps that moisture from escaping while you sleep. And because nighttime is when the skin naturally shifts into repair mode, that simple step can make your hands look fuller, smoother, and less wrinkled by the very next morning. Let's talk first about why ordinary hand creams disappoint so many people, especially after 60. Most are too light, too perfumed, or too temporary. They sit on the surface for 20 minutes, maybe soften things for an hour, and then vanish the moment you wash your hands or touch a towel. But aging skin needs more than surface softness. It needs support. It needs help rebuilding the barrier. It needs ingredients that draw water in, ingredients that calm inflammation, and ingredients that nudge the skin to behave younger. A weak cream cannot do that. A smart overnight hand repair mask can. The first key ingredient I want you to understand is glycerin. And if you've never paid attention to it on a label, start tonight. Glycerin pulls water into the outer layer of the skin like a magnet. That matters because many so-called hand wrinkles are made worse by dehydration. When the skin is dry, every line looks sharper, every fold looks deeper, every spot looks harsher against the surrounding skin. But when water returns to that outer layer, the skin surface swells ever so slightly, enough to make fine lines look softer and the whole hand appear healthier. It's the difference between a dried grape and a fresh one. Same structure, completely different appearance. Then we have urea, and this one is deeply underappreciated, especially for older hands. Urea helps the skin hold moisture, but it also loosens that rough, stuck, dull outer layer that makes hands look tired and older than they are. So instead of just sitting there feeling greasy, a good urea-based cream actually helps the hand surface become smoother and more even over several nights. That means less ashiness, less rough texture, less of that crinkled paper look across the back of the hand. If your hands feel tight after washing or look older by evening than they did in the morning, urea can be one of the fastest acting things you ever start using. Now let's get to niacinamide, because if dark spots are part of what bothers you, this matters. Niacinamide is a form of vitamin B3, and it helps in several directions at once. It supports the skin barrier, reduces irritation, improves texture, and over time can help make uneven pigment look less obvious. What I like about niacinamide for mature hands is that it tends to be gentler than the harsh brightening tricks people try at home. It doesn't wage war on the skin. It coaches the skin back toward balance. And mature skin responds better to coaching than punishment. That is a principle I wish more people understood. And then we come to the ingredient that truly changes the game for wrinkles, and that is retinol, or a gentle retinoid. This is where many people get nervous because they hear the word and think peeling, burning, redness, disaster. But used correctly, and especially on the backs of the hands, retinoids can help improve skin thickness, encourage healthier turnover, and support the collagen that aging skin steadily loses. In plain English, they help the hand behave less like old paper and more like living tissue that still knows how to renew itself. Not instantly, not like a magic trick, but steadily and noticeably, especially when used at night and paired with good moisture. Here's what surprises a lot of people. The reason their hands look old is often not just pigment. It is not just wrinkles. It is a combination of dryness, thinning, sun damage, inflammation, and neglect. When all of those stack together, the result is that fragile, spotted, creased look many people assume is just unavoidable. But because it is a combination problem, it can improve from a combination solution. That's why the overnight hand repair mask works so well. You're hydrating, repairing, calming, and protecting in one session while you sleep. Instead of chasing symptoms one at a time, you are finally addressing the whole picture. Now let me give you the exact bedtime routine because the order matters, and I don't want you guessing. First, wash your hands with lukewarm water, never hot. Hot water strips what little protective oil older skin still has. Then pat your hands dry, but not bone dry. Leave them just slightly damp. That tiny bit of leftover moisture gives your treatment something to hold on to. Next, apply a generous amount of your fragrance-free hand cream or treatment. If it contains urea, glycerin, ceramides, niacinamide, or retinol, even better. Focus especially on the backs of the hands, around the knuckles, and along the sides where the skin often looks thinnest and driest. Then, and this is the step most people skip, take a very small amount of petroleum jelly, a very thin layer, and smooth it over the backs of the hands. Not a heavy, sticky glob. You are not icing a cake. You are creating a seal. Think of it like putting the lid on a pot so the goodness inside doesn't evaporate all night long. If your hands are extremely dry, you can go a little heavier. If you dislike the greasy feel, use less, but do not skip the seal. The difference between a good cream alone and a good cream sealed overnight is often the difference between mild improvement and visible improvement. If you really want to take it up a level, put on a pair of plain cotton gloves for 30 minutes or sleep in them if you can tolerate it. Cotton gloves do not add magic. What they do is keep the treatment where it belongs, stop it from rubbing off onto your sheets, and give the skin a calm little micro environment to recover in. For some people, that one extra step is the thing that turns "this feels nice" into "goodness, my hands actually look better." Especially if your skin is rough, cracked, or constantly exposed to cleaning, gardening, dishwashing, or dry indoor air, cotton gloves can make a real difference. Now let's talk about what you may notice through the first 7 days, because this is where people lose patience or they expect the wrong thing. Night 1, many of you will wake up with hands that feel softer and look less tired. The surface lines may already seem less sharp. By night 3, roughness often starts to settle down, and that stiff, parchy feeling after washing can improve. By night 5, the backs of the hands often begin to look calmer, smoother, and more even in tone because dry, flaky skin is no longer throwing light in every direction. By night 7, many people see the hands looking fuller, less creased, and less weathered overall. And here is the important nuance. Sometimes the spots themselves have not vanished, but the contrast around them changes so much that they look less dramatic. Why? Because dry, thinned, rough skin makes pigment look harsher. When the surrounding skin becomes more hydrated, smoother, and healthier, the eye reads the whole hand differently. It looks brighter. It looks calmer. It looks younger. This is why people often say, my spots faded, when what really happened first was the entire hand stopped looking so depleted. That visual softening is real, and it is one reason the 7-day transformation can be surprisingly convincing. Now, if your hand treatment contains retinol, I want you to be smart with it. Do not smear a strong retinoid on angry, broken, irritated skin every single night and then blame the ingredient when your hands rebel. If you are new to retinol, start every other night for the first week. On the off nights, just do the rich hand cream plus the sealing layer. That gives the skin time to adapt. And remember, more is not better. Mature skin loves consistency far more than aggression. Tiny amounts repeated faithfully beat heroic amounts that you can only tolerate twice before quitting. The best routine is the one you can still do a month from now. Now, I have to warn you about the things I do not want you putting on your hands before bed, because some of the worst advice online is aimed directly at people who are desperate for quick results. Please do not use lemon juice. Please do not use baking soda. Please do not use straight apple cider vinegar. Please do not scrub your hands raw with salt, sugar, toothpaste, or anything abrasive just because someone online said their spots peeled off in 3 nights. Mature skin is thinner. It is slower to heal. Irritation can leave you with more redness, more sensitivity, and sometimes even more uneven pigmentation than you started with. And please do not forget the role of morning sunscreen, because I promise you this is where people sabotage beautiful progress. You can do the most thoughtful overnight repair routine in the world, but if you wake up, wash your hands, and then drive, garden, walk outside, or sit by a sunny window with bare, unprotected hands, you are feeding the very process that created the spots and thinning in the first place. Sunlight does not care that you used a lovely cream last night. If you are serious about younger looking hands, broad spectrum SPF on the backs of the hands every morning is not optional. It is how you protect the investment you made while sleeping. Think of nighttime treatment as planting seeds, and sunscreen as the fence around the garden. Without the fence, something comes along and ruins the work. And this matters more on hands than people realize because the hands receive years and years of casual sun exposure. Driving, walking, carrying groceries, sitting by windows, hanging laundry. Those little daily doses accumulate. So if you want the spots to look lighter over time and the texture to keep improving instead of sliding backward, your nights and your mornings have to work together. That is the real secret, not one product, a partnership between repair and protection. Another thing I want to mention, especially for women after menopause and men in later life, is that thinning skin on the hands is often not just cosmetic. It can mean the skin bruises more easily, feels more fragile, and loses that cushiony look it once had. That is one reason people suddenly notice veins, tendons, and bones much more than before. And while no cream turns back the calendar entirely, routines that support hydration, barrier repair, and collagen can absolutely improve how that skin behaves and how it looks. The hands may never look 18 again, but they can look cared for, resilient, and far younger than neglected hands of the same age. Now let me give you the best product profile to look for if you are shopping, because this saves people a lot of money. Look for a fragrance, free hand cream, or night treatment with glycerin high on the list, urea if your skin is rough or creepy, ceramides for barrier repair, niacinamide if tone is uneven, and retinol if you want a stronger anti-wrinkle push. If you cannot find everything in one product, don't panic. Get a solid, boring, dependable hand cream first. Then add a thin sealing layer over the top. Remember, mature skin improves more from faithful basics than from glamorous jars that smell expensive. And if you have to choose just one kind of person to become after this video, become the person who respects boredom. I mean that sincerely. Because healthy skin is often built by the habits people find too simple to be exciting. A gentle wash, a smart cream, a seal at night, sunscreen in the morning. Repeating that long enough for biology to respond. We are so often tempted by drama, by the promise that one unusual ingredient will transform everything by Friday. But your skin is not waiting for something exotic, it is waiting for consistency. It is waiting for you to stop stripping it and start supporting it. Let me also talk to those of you who say, Matthew, my hands are so dry that lines appear by midday even if I moisturize in the morning, because I know exactly what you mean. That usually tells me two things. First, the barrier is compromised. Second, your daytime product likely does not last. In that case, your bedtime routine becomes even more important because it is your only long uninterrupted repair window. During the day, your hands are working. At night, they can recover. And when the skin begins to hold moisture better from the night before, you often find you need less frantic rescue during the day. That alone makes life feel easier. Now, if you want the routine simplified down to almost nothing, here it is, damp hands, rich treatment cream, thin sealing layer, cotton gloves if possible, sunscreen the next morning. That is the skeleton of the whole strategy. But the reason it works is because each part solves a different problem. Damp skin gives hydration. The cream delivers repairing ingredients. The seal prevents water loss. The gloves improve contact time. The sunscreen stops new damage. Remove one or two of those and results can still come, but they come slower. Put them together and you create the conditions for a very different looking hand in a very short period of time. I also want to say one thing about expectations, because I care more about your trust than your applause. If your spots are changing shape, getting darker in strange ways, itching, bleeding, or looking irregular at the edges, do not treat that like ordinary cosmetic aging. Have it checked. I mean that not every spot is just a harmless age mark. So this video is for ordinary dryness, photoaging, visible wrinkling, and common sun spots, not for ignoring warning signs. Caring wisely for your skin also means knowing when something deserves a professional eye. And that kind of caution is not fear, it is self-respect. Now here's where people get beautifully surprised. After a week of doing this consistently, many begin the routine because they want prettier hands, but they keep going because their hands actually feel better. Less stingy after washing, less irritated in dry weather, less rough against clothing. And that matters. Because when the skin feels more comfortable, you naturally protect it more. You stop scrubbing it. You stop attacking it with random acids. You stop forgetting it. That is when the routine becomes part of your life instead of another little experiment that fades away after 3 nights and a burst of hope. For those of you who want the strongest overnight version, here is what I personally like as a framework. On most nights, use a rich hand cream with urea, glycerin, ceramides, or niacinamide, then seal it. 2 or 3 nights a week. If your skin tolerates it, use a retinol or gentle retinoid treatment underneath that seal instead. This gives you ongoing hydration every single night while also bringing in the longer-term wrinkle and texture benefits of vitamin A without overwhelming the skin. It is balanced. It is sensible, and for mature hands, sensible almost always beats extreme. The body responds better to rhythm than to shock, and if you are wondering, can I use my face products on my hands? The answer is often yes, especially if you already own a retinol serum or fragrance-free moisturizer that your skin tolerates well. In fact, some of the most effective hand care I see is simply people remembering to extend a good routine beyond the face. The backs of the hands have been ignored for years. So when they suddenly start receiving intelligent care, they often respond with real gratitude. You don't always need a separate luxury hand product. Sometimes you just need to stop treating your hands like an afterthought and start treating them like visible, living skin worthy of the same respect as your face. Let me bring it all together for you because I do not want this to feel complicated. Your hands look older when they are dry, sun damaged, thinned, inflamed, and underprotected. They look younger when they are hydrated, sealed, nourished, and defended from new damage. The overnight hand repair mask works because it honors how aging skin actually functions. It does not rely on hype, it relies on moisture retention, barrier repair, gentle renewal, and consistency. And that is why the change can begin in 7 days, even if deeper pigment and collagen changes continue unfolding over weeks and months after that. So tonight, when you go to the sink, do something different. Wash gently, leave a hint of moisture. Apply that rich hand treatment with the right ingredients. Seal it softly, cover if you can, and then let sleep do what sleep was designed to do: repair, restore, renew. You do not need a drawer full of gimmicks. You do not need to punish your skin to make it improve. You need a method that makes sense for where your skin is now at this age in this season of life. And once you see your hands in the morning light after a few faithful nights, I think you may be genuinely shocked. Because the truth is, your age is not the enemy, neglect is. Sun damage is. Dryness is. Years of washing without repairing is. Your hands are not beyond help. They are not asking for miracles. They are asking for support. And the moment you give them that support consistently, they begin to show you what they can still do. Softer texture, fewer visible lines, a calmer tone, a healthier glow, more comfort, more confidence, more of you when you look down and see your own hands again instead of a version of aging that feels harsher than it has to be. If this helped you, subscribe and turn on the bell because every week I share practical science-based ways to help you feel stronger, healthier, and more confident as you age. And now I want to hear from you in the comments. How old are you? And if you try this tonight, what is the first change you hope to see in your hands? The wrinkles, the dryness, the spots, the texture. Tell me below because I truly do love hearing your stories. And if you stay consistent for 7 nights, come back and let me know what changed. I'll be right here reading.